Hey guys, welcome back. This will be our third reading of the Bible readings, and I'm still using the same Bible as always, but if you're new, it's the New Revised Standard Version, red letter by Cokesbury. And today, we are starting chapter 3 of Genesis, verses 1 through 24, which is the whole chapter 3. So whole chapter 3. And this is called the first sin and its punishment, which I kind of touched on the last video a little bit. So, this starts on page 2 and continues to page 3 if you have this kind of version. Here we go. Now the serpent was more crafty than any other wild animal that the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God say, 'You shall not eat from any tree in the garden'?" The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden. But God said, 'You shall not eat of the fruit of the tree that is in the middle of the garden, nor shall you touch it, or you shall die.' But the serpent said to the woman, 'You will not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil.' So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made loincloths for themselves. They heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden at the time of the evening breeze. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man and said to him, 'Where are you?' He said, 'I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself.' He said, 'Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?' The man said, 'The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit from the tree, and I ate.' Then the Lord God said to the woman, 'What is this that you have done?' The woman said, 'The serpent tricked me, and I ate.' The Lord God said to the serpent, 'Because you have done this, cursed are you among all animals, and among all wild creatures. Upon your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will strike your head, and you will strike his heel.' To the woman he said, 'I will greatly increase your pangs in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Yet your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you.' And to the man he said, 'Because you have listened to the voice of your wife, you have eaten of the tree about which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth of you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground. Out of it you were taken, you are dust, and to the dust you shall return.' The man named his wife Eve, because she was the mother of all living. And the Lord God made garments of skins for the man and for his wife, and clothed them. Then the Lord God said, 'See, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And now he might reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life, and eat, and live forever.' Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. He drove out the man, and at the east of the Garden of Eden he placed the cherubim and a sword flaming and turning to guard the way to the tree of life." Okay, that was a lot. It was a whole chapter, but it was a story. So it starts with the serpent tricking the woman to eat of the tree that she was told to not eat out of. And the serpent told her that it was okay, and that basically what God had said was not true. And with that, I look at that as being, that's other people, other items, other things, other events in your life that you have to make decisions upon, and those decisions could lead you astray, just like this. Even this was more clear, but in our everyday life, it's more difficult to understand those decisions between sin and God. In life, we have to look out even more for those bad things, and you have to use your knowledge, use what God has given us, the Bible and other things, to help you make those decisions. And also, the next section of this about they were filled with knowledge once they ate from the tree. And I wonder why God put that tree there and told them not to eat of that tree. Like, why would he tempt them? Why would that tree be there if only they could not take from it? What was the purpose of that? Was it a test? Kind of makes me wonder, like, was it a test? Was it see if they would obey? I'm thinking it was more of a test, but also the tree would stay the same, but more of a test. And then they were knowledgeable and they realized they were naked. Then God came to them and they were afraid of God because they knew they had disobeyed and they had more knowledge now. And God called out to them, and Adam, the man, had gone to him, and so did Eve, which she's named in this. And they talked, and God asked what they had done, and Eve told them about the serpent. And so, because of that, the serpent gets punished, and so does the woman, and she has pain in childbearing, and we still have pain in childbearing. And you can be like, well, that's just biological, and it's painful because that's the way it is. But also, it's like, it right here in creation, God said that. So that just like makes me think, like, what would have happened if they didn't pick from that tree and eat from that tree? Like, we wouldn't have all this knowledge of what we do now. We never would. We would just be naked all the time, and we wouldn't know, and it wouldn't be a big deal because we wouldn't even think about it. And that would just be our natural, normal state. And that's crazy to think about. And we would have no sin. Part of me thinks that probably sin would come back, and then someone would do that, and then this would kind of just repeat itself, but in a different way. Most likely would probably happen, but maybe it wouldn't if this first thing didn't happen. And maybe that would have changed all of the rest of the Bible, the rest of the course of humanity, everything. But this did happen. Yeah, it's just crazy to think that God said, you made this bad decision, so I'm going to punish you this way, and that's how it's going to be for everyone, kind of situation. And then he also punishes Adam, the man, and he has to till the land, and he's basically commanded to stay on that piece of land. He can't leave, is what I'm getting out of this. And if I'm saying anything wrong, please correct me or anything, because I'm just trying to get back into understanding for myself and what's actually going on. So, he's to the land, and he's not allowed to leave. Because it says, by the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. You are dust, and to the dust you shall return. So God is basically punishing them for these things and saying this is what will happen. So when they sinned, they weren't going to go to heaven because there was no Jesus yet. Because this was just creation. This last little section, when it says, then the Lord God said, see, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil, and now he might reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life, and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground for which he was taken. So because they ate from the tree of life, it said they would live forever. This part is a little confusing to me, so I'm just rereading it to myself real quick. He drove out the man, and at the east of the And at the east of the Garden of Eden, he placed the cherubim and a sword flaming and turning to guard the way to the tree of life. So after they took from the tree of life, Adam and Eve were out of it, so God exiled them, and they had to go live somewhere else until that land to get their own food from where they were. And then God placed the cherubim and the sword around the tree of life to guard it, so no one could do that again. So that just makes me think more about that, is that the tree of life and you live forever. Interesting. Live forever. So does that mean living forever on the earth, or up in heaven, or hell, or whatever, or is he bound to the earth to live forever? It's interesting to think about. Because if it's live forever, then he'd still be alive. But that doesn't make sense, because there's no person still alive now. That's something to think about. But yeah, you guys tell me what you think about that little section. It's verse 22 through 24, the very end of chapter 3, right before chapter 4. Let me know what you think of that, because that's interesting to me. But yeah, so we'll end there, and tomorrow, because I'm going to do these daily, we'll start chapter 4, which is Cain murders Abel. And new characters, new people will be established, and I shouldn't call them characters. New people will be established, and we'll see a new story unfold. So thank you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.